All right, what's going on, people? This is Aaron Wilson for Inside the 49. I'm joined by the one and only Chris Wilson. What's up, Chris? How we doing today?
We're doing all right.
Not too
Off
bad.
Season. Yep. Like baseball starting. And I
right.
didn't know.
And the Orioles are already 0-2. I know you guys probably are Giants fans instead of Orioles fans.
0-3, actually. Yeah, they got blown out today.
Was that 0-3? Is it that quick? Yeah, that's right. Friday, Saturday. You're right, 0-3. So we are jumping on here today to talk about who you're seeing on
anything but the Orioles.
Who you're seeing on screen. He is in the Kansas City uniform, as you see, but come in a couple months, he's going to be for the 49ers, and that is Charvarius Ward. So 49ers signed him. We're going to talk about a little bit about the contract, how he fits into the 49ers scheme, and what they see potentially out of him as a corner for the Niners. We'll look at some tape. We'll break it down a little bit for you guys, and we will rock and roll that way. So right off the bat, you see a little bit of footage here. We'll take some time to break down a couple specific plays in here in a couple minutes. But for now, let's talk a little bit about the contract and get Chris's take on that. So right off the bat, we see, if we pull up over the cap.com, that he signed for a total of $26.7 million guaranteed over a 3-year deal for $42 million. You get a little bit of information on the contract here from Over the Cap. And as Chris and I looked at right before we jumped on YouTube, he's going to be a top 15 cornerback paid in the league. Chris?
Yeah. Actually, instead of doing all the math, it says it right there. So 13 out of 326.
13 out of 326. So
yeah,
is he a top 13 corner? Is the question, and we don't know yet.
We hope he is.
We hope he is. We hope he is.
He could be.
He could be.
Lots of things could happen.
Yeah. So, again, the 49ers are making a claim on him as being the guy to go with him and E-Man, and hopefully E-Man shows up a little better this coming year than he did last year for the 49ers. So the play is they paid him like he's a top 13 corner in the league. And the question is he going to actually hit that value for the Niners? And that's only time will tell in that situation. So where do you see him fitting in with the Niners, Chris?
Well, I see him fitting in on the left side because that's where he plays. So, he'll be playing on the opposite side of Mosley. That's the game plan. So we drafted 2 cornerbacks last year, and I guess neither of them are going to be starting. So, I'm not quite sure about that. But
I guess the other question is, we lost K1. We don't have a slot cornerback. Is there a chance that E-Man might be able to jump inside, or is there a chance that they're going to give Lenore a shot to play inside in those slot situations or not? That's all kind of up in the air. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah. Well, Lenore was very particular about the fact that he was not a nickel, inside cornerback, after he was drafted. That he'll play wherever he's told to play, but that's not, who he is, even though that's what his size you think would dictate. Ward doesn't seem like he's much of a guy who can be in the slot, just looking at his pro day numbers, which were not very impressive, although they were, middle Tennessee pro day numbers. So take it for what it's worth. But I'm hoping that there's some misprints there. And he's actually not even on mock draftable, which is, I guess, they put the guys on when they're going to get drafted, and he wasn't drafted. So maybe that's why. But I would assume that Mosley would be the guy that you would bring in, and well, he would already be in the game, but you would move into the slot, and then, you drafted a third round corner for a reason, and you put him through the latter half of last season. The first part of which he shouldn't have been playing because he wasn't, he wasn't one of the best two corners on the team. But he was playing, and he took his lumps, but he made a great play against the Packers, and helped his confidence. And those are the kinds of things you do so that the following year you can reap the benefits. So I would assume that since now he's not going to be starting, apparently, that he'll be the guy who will be on the opposite side. And I don't think it'll be a big difference for him playing on either side. I believe he did both last year.
Yeah.
So I think he just wants to be on the field. But, I don't know what happened to Lenore as far as playing time, but they just decided that he wasn't going to play anymore.
Yeah, that was one of the weirdest things. I remember talking to you about it and thinking, okay, Lenore, he doesn't look bad. Looks pretty, for a, what was he, 5th, 6th round pick? He looks like, okay, he's got some potential there. And then all of a sudden they went straight to Thomas, and he didn't touch the field, but maybe, special teams here and there. And I was just, I'm fine. I'm like, what? I thought this guy had some potential. He looked decent. Yeah, he got burned a couple times, but he didn't get burned as many times as Thomas was. And they were just like, Thomas is the guy. So they must be seeing something, obviously, in practice, that they're like, okay, Thomas is going to be the guy. Lenore is not going to be the guy that we really want to invest the time in from playing time last year. And they kind of went forward. The other question is what happens with Verrett. We know Verrett's a free agent, and there haven't been any talks since. I know I saw an article the other day saying that Shanahan is open to bringing him back. But, with this Ward signing, it seems like, Ward, E-Man, Thomas are going to be the three. We know that the Niners need more than those corners. So maybe there's a chance they might be able to bring Verrett back on a very light deal. Again, he hurt again, another injury concern. But, I'd love to have him in the mix. That's for sure.
Yeah, he would come in and immediately be our best cornerback. Yeah. So, and I don't know his injury situation. Well, I know that his historical injury situation.
Yeah.
But I think we talked about it last time or the time before that we signed him on a 1 year prove it deal last year, and he proved it that he gets injured.
Yeah.
So why not sign him to another 1 year prove it deal? And
I like that idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea a lot, especially with.
He's not getting younger, so it's kind of thing where if he plays well, then he's probably going to be gone. But I'll take that over having what we have right now, which Ward he's an undrafted guy, and he's played himself into a starting role in Kansas City, which. Yeah, isn't the most difficult thing to do in their secondary, but he's been sort of up and down. And then last year's contract year was an up year, and now he's suddenly making top 15 cornerback money, which essentially means he's a number one corner just because because of contracts. That you're even though you're making the 13th most doesn't mean you're the 13th best, because some of the guys have some contracts that are a little bit cheaper because of the inflation and the salary cap and everything. But you're definitely playing him. You're definitely paying him as if he's the number one.
Yeah.
And I see him as more of a number two.
Okay.
Like a high end potential number two. I would take him off the field for sure.
Yeah.
But then I would take mostly off the field before that. A best case scenario would be Verrett playing like a number one, and then Ward playing like a 1A.
Yeah, and having E-Man in the slot, and Thomas in the wings ready to be backup for when either of those guys go out.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. But, but that would be the best scenario.
We can all wish, and we can dream it.
Right now, the secondary was a huge problem last year, and it was sort of saved by the pass rush. Because as long as we got to the quarterback in time, then you wouldn't have time to throw the ball to all the open receivers.
Yeah,
and I don't see how we're better now than we were at the beginning of last year.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Now, are we better than we were last year, like at the end of the season? Because I don't know. We don't have Tart. We don't have a strong safety right now on our team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have a backup from another team, but I'm assuming we're not planning on playing him in a very important role. So, I mean, right now we're not as good in the secondary as we were last year, and we need to be better, because last year was a little bit of a surprise year in how well we played.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I like them signing somebody, and I don't have a problem with Ward specifically, other than the fact that I can't pronounce or remember his first name, and I want to call him West. And it's I don't know why the GM would possibly sign two guys with, Ward and West, and then Charvarius, and it's that's the Chiefs are pretty good, signing players, but I did not approve of that. Was it Charkandrick?
Charkandrick?
Charkandrick
myself.
And Charvarius? Yeah. So hopefully he has a nickname.
Yeah, it's got to be something. It's got to be something.
Now we have we have two wards in
secondary. That's a tough one. So
I guess that's how I'll remember it.
One of the interesting things that we saw from this playerprofile.com that I thought was interesting was if you scroll on down on the page, you'll see some good metric information. But then specifically what I thought was interesting was the game log. So if you click on the game log on the page, you had a chance to see who he was actually guarding and going head up against, and what he was able to allow in those situations. So you'll see from this list that you see some of the better wide receivers in the league. You see Devontae Adams. He went against Devontae Adams 91% of the time when they're playing against Green Bay.
And we just have no one cover Devontae Adams.
Exactly. So we know that's a problem, right? And for that, he was only one reception allowed on 5 targets, only 5 targets for Devontae Adams. Something must have been going on. That doesn't make sense. It's usually more like 25. But only 14 yards allowed and 1 pass breakup, which is strong. You also see a couple other good wide receivers on here. Jamar Chase a couple times. One time he got Ward got
Chase got the better of him one time.
Yeah, got the better of him. 5 out of 7 targets for 96 yards. One time. The other time, 4 targets, only 1 completion for 17 yards. Diggs as well, 5 for 9 on 9 targets for 45 yards. So again, he's going against some of the better wide receivers in the league. So he does have that kind of number 1 on the Chiefs status, so to speak. We don't know how good that number 1 really is, but it's just, there's something to be said for that. The fact that and you'll see from the tape, he's an aggressive guy. He likes to get in their face, which I love. He's a good hitter, which is something that we're not really used to seeing a lot of lately for the 49ers cornerbacks. So, I mean, good stuff to see from that as well.
Yeah, he's definitely physical. I think he needs to be physical because he might be lacking in some other areas, and he makes a play on the ball. So he has those things going for him. He wants to be up on the line of scrimmage, in pressing in man, which we don't play very much. So that's going to be sort of interesting. It's sort of similar to to last year. It's probably why it took so long to, for us to see the rookie, because he never played in our kind of defense before. Now, I'm not saying that Ward hasn't, but just seeing it here, he wants to be pressed up on the opposing wide receiver, and he wants to get his hands on him. And I want him to make plays like this.
Yeah, I know, right? It's always nice to see. Again, take this.
Also, that was a pretty nice catch.
Yeah, he's got good hands.
But that was a horrible throw.
Yeah, horrible throw. I think that was the second time against the Steelers that the ball was not in a good spot for the quarterback.
Yeah. That's one nice defensive pick.
Yeah.
I mean, like pick, not interception pick.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, keep in mind, look, this is the highlight reel, right? So we're going to go in a second. I'm going to stop the film. We're going to break down a couple specific plays and how he was playing. But keep in mind, this is, highlight reel that we were able to find. We want to see the all 22 look every single play. we'll eventually, be able to see that. But actually, I'm going to stop right here on Chase.
Yeah.
So
I was like, was that Andrew Luck in there? Quarterback. Hopefully we have more highlights than that.
All right. So the first thing that we're going to start with is this against Chase, which, it's obvious that he's going to be up on, like Chris said, he's going to be up on the line of scrimmage. He wants to be in their face. It'll be interesting to see how he transitions to a little bit different of a defense for the Niners. But let's just kind of break down a little bit how he goes against Chase and show this from a couple different angles. So he tries to be aggressive off the bat, tries to get his hands on him, isn't successful. Chase gets a nice little release, gets there, but he maintains good position on Chase, and he's not letting Chase kind of run away from him. In situations, does a good job of flipping his head around and knocking the ball down as well. Here he is again from the other side. He's aggressive with the hands. Is it pass interference? Is it not pass interference? From that, 10-yard out, that's a good question. But showing that decent wingspan that he has, and being aggressive with the ball.
He does have nice long arms. So, and he's a little under 6'1", and right around 200 pounds. So he's not a small guy.
Right, so here's one of the plays that Chase got the best of him, and right off the bat we're seeing a similar situation as before, where he's up on the line of scrimmage. He's trying to get his hands on him. He's trying to redirect him. Doesn't do an amazing job of him redirecting right off the bat, but stays with him. That's where we want him to be. 5 yards down the field, Jamar Chase, one of the faster guys in the league. That's where we want the 49ers cornerbacks to be, which is good.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of get beat on that one.
Well, yeah, the problem there is I don't really have too much of a problem with him getting in front of Chase, like running his route for him, like he did there. Yeah. But then he got overly concerned about the out right at the wrong time. Yeah. And then he got concerned about the, and then he got flipped around. And if he just stayed running, he would have been in position to make the play. So that's a little unlucky, I think, because if Chase gets off the line of scrimmage like that, and you're able to recover, get hands on within the 5 yards, and then get in front of him, you're in a good spot. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Yeah. Let him have the out.
Yeah.
Especially where he was lined up. Yeah. And all the protection that the quarterback had in that play. But yeah, that was a really bad pass that should have been picked off. That he did not deserve to have a completion with. Yeah. But that was a little unlucky.
All right, why don't we go? Let's go full screen for everybody. Get a little more.
Yeah, no need to see our faces.
No need at all. Again, you see aggressive right away, which we like right off the bat. Trying to back a little bit more.
Yeah, were they playing their 2-man?
Looks like it. Maybe a little robber in the middle. Unless there's, looks like it.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's. I can't really tell if that's who that is. Who's on the Kansas City logo? That's a safety or a.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. All right, so aggressive
linebacker
off the bat, which is good. Right. He's winning the battle, right?
Yeah.
He's winning the battle for the first couple of yards, which is what you want out of your corner. He actually ends up coming off and making play on.
That's a different play, I think.
Yeah, different play.
Yeah. So that time he did not stick with him very well. But looking at him, well, he really didn't stick with him very well. But in general, I was impressed with his some of his advanced stats of sticking with receivers. His overall 3 years, he was sort of hovering around, and one year was under 1 yard of separation on target. So he's pretty sticky, just not on that play right there. That play is a little slippery, but he's also going up against a pretty good wide receiver. But And I'm not sure what his responsibility was.
Yeah, you're not sure what his responsibility was. He was playing so far off.
I'm pretty sure that he's supposed to be on the outside.
Yes.
And he's not right now. So
yeah, correct.
But, whatever. That was not. I mean, yeah, that he's got to be a lot closer to him. But
same play. Same play. So same play, different side. This gives us a nice little all 22 look at that. I'm going to roll that back a little bit.
Yeah, and so the problem here with like Ward and that West is that he knows that Chase is faster than he is. Yeah. So go ahead and run it forward right before Chase, like right here. He's worried before Chase, does the in here or just stops. He's look where his body is turned. Not Chase. Chase is obviously trying to stop, but Ward's body is is flying to the back corner of the end zone because he doesn't want Chase to beat him there. So that's an issue. He ran somewhere in the 4.4s, like 4.45 or something like 4.45 in his pro day, or 4.44, something like that. So he's going to go up against guys who are faster than he is. So he needs to overpower them at the line because otherwise he's going to get situations like this where he needs to be a yard ahead of him because otherwise Chase is going to be a yard ahead of him by the time he gets into the end zone. But, this ends up being just a simple reception. Yeah.
And this kind of looks similar to some of the defensive schemes that the 49ers are running. So obviously, the other stuff that we saw before was probably more man. This is probably more zone. So again, this means something he's going to have to be better at.
I think this might be, honestly, I think this might be man too.
You think so?
Yeah. Run it back. I think he just rams it out of the play. Okay. Yeah, well, look at it again from the beginning.
Yeah.
See, they got three guys over here, and yeah, pretty sure that's man. They got a fat guy back there.
All right, so he's
say 5% or something.
Yeah, he's up here. He's up here on the top.
Okay, I mean, I like. I don't know. Personally, I like a guy who wants to get in the other guy's face.
No, I love it, man. And well, I'm gonna run it back to one of the best plays that I saw from many of the highlights that we've seen in terms of his hitting, and he cleaned someone's clock here against the Rays. I'll run it back for you guys here in a minute.
And this is one thing that the Niners run. We'll run one corner off on one side when they run cover three a lot. Yeah. So you would expect that he would be the press corner, and that E-Man would not be. So. I mean, here he's pressing on. Well, it's right in the middle of the field. So, but he's even if this is zone, it's pretty likely that he's going to be manned up.
Man principles again.
So
keep in mind the idea that although we're saying he's a strong man corner, and we as 49ers run a lot of zone coverage. Obviously, there are man principles that are within that zone coverage a lot of the time. So it's not like he's going to be a fish out of water.
Yeah, I mean, like zone usually turns to man.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then you have a problem.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Top and air
on the top, highlighted.
All right. Oh, he looks on the inside release.
Yeah, which is interesting because he had inside.
Did he hold him there? Is he able to stop in the snow like that? I think he held him. You see that again? Whoa, that guy's flying all over the place.
Super slow-mo. Yeah, let's see that again. Yeah, so what we're talking about here is, if you can see, if you're looking at his feet, he right now has inside leverage. So he is supposed to give the outside release and force an outside release by the wide receiver. He's using the sideline to help him with the coverage, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
As you see, there right off the bat. And again, as an aggressive corner, what he should be doing is he should be taking his right arm.
That's not very aggressive.
Punching the wide receiver and the wide receiver's left arm to make sure he cannot get that inside release. But let's see. Chris was looking at something different.
And it's the X too. So, I mean, the guy's on the line. So, because there's no excuse for you not to get your hands on him.
Yeah.
Sort of weird.
Probably had a little bit of a tug there at the top.
Yeah, I mean,
probably.
Just because it's so hard to stop, I would assume that he's got a hand on the jersey.
Yeah, there. I mean,
to help him
there. Again, you can get away with a little bit as long as you're not ripping him over.
Yeah, well, I mean, it also depends on the refs, and if he looks at the guy the wrong way, he's getting penalized.
This is true.
So,
All right, so where I wanted to go back to.
Maybe that's why it's so sticky, because he's holding on to everybody.
Maybe that's why his separation is so solid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll play through. We'll stop it there as we talk. As we talk a little bit more, I'll stop it at that nice spot where we cleans a couple guys' clocks.
He's got red hair. What's going on,
right? Hey, he can bring that. Hey, he can bring it to the Niners. It's not a problem.
I don't think he didn't play special teams last year, did he?
Not that I'm aware of.
Let me look.
Yeah, rocking that right here, man. Aggressive. I mean, that's the biggest thing that you see is the aggressive nature, and I love that.
So I don't know what year that was, but who's he covering? Jordy Nelson.
Here it is. Here's what we're talking about. There's the hit.
Yeah, there we go.
Then there's the aggression. I mean, as a football fan, that's just what you want to see. And then here's a nice little super slow-mo on him breaking down and cleaning up, getting low.
Yeah, sorry, Rod. Not happening.
He's not getting any more yards after that. I just want to leave it right on that spot because there it is right there. All right, so here's what you are getting. Here's what you're getting. You're getting an aggressive corner that wants to be in the wide receiver's faces, and that's what we like to see. That's what we really like to see. All right, overall thoughts on the signing. What do you think, Chris?
And I'm just looking. He had like one. Let's see. He was on the punt return team like 11 times last year.
Okay.
So just like very sporadically.
Yeah.
And then 4 times the year before, and then and he did a lot in special teams in 2019 and a lot in 2018. So some of that special team stuff was probably earlier. So sorry, what did you ask me?
Overall,
what are my overall thoughts?
Overall thoughts on the signing.
I'm glad that we did something.
That's all.
Yeah, and not to do just do something, but I'm glad that we were active at a position of need. Do we have the right guy? I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna no one knows. Are we gonna get the guy who was playing, noticeably better last year than his previous years? Then this was a great pickup. If we're getting a guy that was playing, see how many times I can say who was playing as if it were his contract year when it was his contract year, and then he goes back to his old ways of not being all that great, then it's not that great of a deal, and we're getting out of it early, and and then we're sort of in trouble because we have a number one paid corner who's not a number one corner. So my issue is I don't think you're getting a number one corner out of him. You're paying him like a number one corner. You're not paying him crazy money. You're not. If he plays decent, if he plays like a good number 2, it's not the end of the world. So he does have some injury history. He's also somewhat raw. I think he only played like 2 years of 2 years of community college football, and maybe like 1 year of high school football or something like that, and then the 2 years with our man Richie James, rest in peace. And then he's had the 4 years in the NFL. So that's not a lot of time for somebody who's athletic to learn all the intricacies of the game. So hopefully we can teach him some stuff that he didn't learn at Kansas City, which is I don't know what they teach him in Kansas City. Just let the other team score lots of points so Mahomes can throw the ball a lot. But yeah, it's when it first happened, I'm like, really? But then looking into it, like it seems like a solidish piece.
Solid. I like that. Solidish piece. I think
solidish piece.
That's a good take.
I think that he'd be great as a number 2 across from Verrett.
Yeah.
I think if he's a number 1, then you're not going. I mean, unless you have somebody really bad on the other side, you're gonna, it's not like you're gonna avoid him or anything like that.
Yeah.
So overall, I mean, you have to pay a corner. That's just the way that it is. Yeah. And we let go of a corner who was good, who became good, and was free agent this year. So we haven't done the best in analyzing cornerback talent. We have 2 guys that we drafted. I assume that they're not going to be starting on day 1. In year 2, one of them's a second day guy. It's not good. But still, it's good that they swallow their pride and pick up something, a guy at a position where they tried to address it last year and they addressed it somewhat, but they didn't address it quite enough. And of course, the Verrett injury really hurt them.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, when you lose your best corner, then your secondary isn't going to be as good. So you can't really blame them for that. I mean, you can't blame them for the fact that you need a good, decent backups, other than Dante Johnson, who's always going to be there
forever and ever.
Yes. Yep. But yeah, well, we'll be long dead, and Dante Johnson will still be playing cornerback, and sometimes safety, and sometimes in the slot, and who knows? So
who knows? Safety, slot, he can do it all. He can do it all.
Well, yeah, he can do it all. At an equal level. Doesn't matter what you ask him to do.
This is true.
He ain't gonna be good, but he's a warm body. Yeah. So it seems like Ward is more than a warm body. That he's the guy with potential. That it's very likely that he hasn't reached his peak yet. So he's also, a guy who's, was originally a project guy and, found his way onto a roster. And like I said, then played himself into a roster spot and then a starting role, and then kept a starting role. Even when he was injured, when he came back, he was starting. So, the Chiefs thought that he was one of their better corners, and, they have a number of, solidish corners. So they thought that he was the most solidish of all the solidishness. So yeah, overall, I'd say a B-, C+.
Yeah, but I think I'm on the same. I like this solidish idea. I think that we have not the perfect scenario, but I think we have the best case scenario, and that's also signing Verrett. Is that going to happen? Probably not, but there's a chance.
Why haven't we done it yet?
Yeah, there's a chance.
Well, I don't know what's his injury situation.
Yeah, I don't know. That's also a question mark as well. But I mean, I'm overall, fairly happy that the more we talk about him as an individual and how his trajectory has gotten better and better. And I always like to see guys that are able to succeed as undrafted free agents, and he was able to succeed and get a $42 million deal. So props to him for all the. The work and determination he had when people, didn't give him a shot, really out of college right off the bat in terms of being drafted, and then being able to make his way on, just like you said, and that upward trajectory, I think is big, and hopefully he takes that next step. Hopefully he takes that next step to be that top 10 cornerback. And he definitely has the ability to do it, but we will see come next year if he's really a number one, or is he, like Chris said, he's a number two.
Yeah. I mean, if we get a number one out of him, even if it's, one of the, I'm not gonna say one of the worst number ones, but if it's on the bottom half of that number one area, then I'd be very happy.
Yeah, I'm with you as well.
I don't think he's going to dominate. It would be very interesting to see what would happen if you had like an elite corner on the other side, if teams would target him or not, and if because I mean he is pretty sticky. So, and whether that's holding or not, I guess we'll find out. But he's like physical and sticky. It's not the kind of guy you want to be targeting all the time. So, it may be a case where they're just throwing the ball in his direction and being successful when when the receiver's open, or when they're playing a different kind of coverage than just man. But he does seem to do what Niner cornerbacks did not do very well, which is get his head around.
Yeah.
And make plays.
And make interceptions.
Yeah, except not on the that one chase play.
Yeah. So that's where we're going to leave it. Solid-ish, I think, is the word of the day. So I want to thank everybody for taking the time to check us out on YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button if you like it. Also smash that like button. We do appreciate it. We're going to continue to talk about free agency in the coming weeks. So please check us out again. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter at AaronWilson22 or Chris at CGA Wilson. And I will see you, and Chris will see you on the next video. See you guys.
See ya.